All right, let's get started. Appreciate everyone being on today. Great, like I mentioned earlier, great panel ahead of us. Just one last reminder for those hopping on here last second. First and last name, make sure you have that listed along with your institution, organization listed as well, and what district, and then your certification membership status with AMA. That is hugely helpful for tracking everyone down with their CEUs. Really helps us out on the back end trying to manage everything. So appreciate you guys jumping on early, being ready to go. And without further ado, let's jump into things. Just a couple updates from me at Uncommon Sports and what we're doing there. Just celebrated passing 880,000 pounds. A lot of stuff coming in right now with guys getting back into it. As I mentioned in previous calls, hopefully by the time we hit AMA convention, we'd love to celebrate 1,000,000 pounds with you guys. So please let us know if you have stuff to clean out. We'd love to take that on. Also, our new program with your kind of replacing your equipment sales or your surplus sales. We have our locker room direct surplus, which is a consignment program. We have that going on, and have time slots still available for that. So let us know. If you have student managers or students wanting to get involved with what we do here at USG, we have our next academy that begins in March. Feel free to have them reach out to me or go to our website, and they can get more information. Should say spring book study. Our next book study for our equipment managers, we had 34 of equipment managers join us in the fall. And we're doing a new book called Lead for God's Sake, and that actually starts February 3rd. I still have some books if you'd like to join us. We have a Zoom call twice a week. You can jump into one of those slots for 30 minutes and read along with it. It's only 6 weeks, so it's not too long. And really good group of equipment managers that built a cool community there. And last thing is the Christians Working in Sports Conference, CWS, that we host. Big news on that. Those of you that know Drew. Drew's been working hard, and we're actually moving that to Atlanta and hosting it in July alongside a group called 80s for Christ. Some of you guys might know that. Probably have athletic directors or administrators that are a part of that. So that's available for you guys as well. So I want to share those updates with you guys, and let's move into some other AMA updates. Again, mentioned this before we got started. Just make sure your cameras are on, guys. That really helps us out, keeping these Zoom calls eligible for CEUs. And make sure you have your first name, last name, especially have it as listed as it is with AMA, so we're not trying to decipher code as to who is where and what. Make sure you have that. And also have your phones out for the QR code at the end of the call. We'll have that out, and you guys can get your CEUs once you scan that code. Next couple sessions, this takes us up again. We're just focusing on getting through convention, but in February, we're hitting fitting from the ground up. If you're interested in being part of that panel, please let us know. And then, yeah, we've got 4 sessions, and then we're going to be in convention mode. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to what we have ahead of us in the spring. Again, if you have ideas for topics, I want to be a part of a panel. Please let us know so we can have you part of that and join in on that. So, and Katie's been doing a great job with the mentor-mentee program. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out her directly or use the mentorship.engagement@ama@gmail.com. I don't know if Katie's on, if she has anything to add to that, but I'll put it up. Can't see her amongst the 148, so I'm going to take that as a no. Without further ado, we're going to jump into our panelists and our topic, international travel today. Really bookends well with our last one. And is Al on? I haven't seen Al yet. I want to make sure. See Al on. Maybe he was unable to make it. Al might be jumping on us. He's got tons of experience internationally. Formerly, we know him as Preston. We all love him as Stick. Roger's going to join us from the Patriots. And then Steph Klein, who's joined us before, is going to join us on her international travel experience as well. So thank you, panelists, for jumping on. We appreciate it, and we'll go ahead and get started. As our traditional first question, let's do a little bit of introduction. Where have you been? Where you are now, and what do you love about being an equipment manager? So we'll go ahead and start with Stick, and then I'll go to Steph.
Hey, Josh, can you hear me, buddy?
We can hear you loud and clear. Thanks.
So I'm Stick, Preston Rogers, head equipment manager, New England Patriots. Started at Mississippi State, so that's how I got the start in the game. High school equipment guy, college equipment guy, GA, intern, assistant equipment manager, director of equipment at Northern Colorado, back to Mississippi State, New England. Favorite part about being an equipment manager is just helping the people. It's a selfless deal. Not everybody's gonna say thank you, but you know you had a part of seeing what you put on the pitch, on the court, on the field, just getting the players ready to play. Because at the end of the day, we can't do our job without those people.
Awesome. Thanks, Stick. And Steph?
Hey everyone, Steph Klon, was with formerly the American Hockey League, Toronto Marlies, and then before that I was in the KHL, more hockey overseas in Russia, and then with the two women's teams over there in the CWHL, and then before that, University of Wilfrid Laurier in Canada up here. Yeah, kind of echoing Stick. Favorite part is just being a part of something, getting people out onto wherever they need to go. The athletes, honestly, even working professional, it's just about, you can't necessarily make people better players, but you can certainly make them better people, and just about, having them leave better people, wherever they might go on to play, college to professional, it's really important. We definitely have a huge part in that. So it's important to help those guys and girls along the way.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. Appreciate it. Let's just jump right into the questions here. This a great question to kind of get us started and kind of opens a large can of worms to discuss as we go along the way. But how do we keep organized for international travel, and how are you converting your normal travel items to be prepared for international trip? What are those biggest things that you've got to worry about? So we'll go to Stick first and then come to Steph.
So for us, we kind of cheated. So last year we went to Germany. This year we went to London. And like those two countries are very different. You can only take in so much from America. So you can't take gum, you can't take aerosols, you can't take like normal things that we would take for a away game or a home game that we put out here in the locker room. And the carnet is already the same, so we just updated our trunks because our trunks are already packed from the preseason anyway. And then we didn't go over till November or late. I went after Mike Parsons with the Vikings. So we called and said, hey, what you leaving? Like, I didn't send air horns over on the boat. I just sent shampoo, soap, and some other stuff. And I put everything else on the plane. So we had 35,000 pounds of cargo under our plane, that when you get there, you go to customs, you sit in customs for 2 hours. You got meetings, trying to get everything out hot to the hotel, set the practice facility up and have practice or whatever. And then coming back, what gets you is you can't load the plane. You just take the people that played the game, the coaching staff, everybody gets on the plane and they send your stuff back like the day after. You fly it into JFK or something like that, and then truck it up here to you. Thank God it's only been 2.5 hours away from me. I had my stuff back like on that Tuesday, and we can keep going. That's the only deal. You really don't convert. You just pray that they don't break your trunks when they're packing those pallets, because it's not like I'm standing out there watching them. It's all different people. Delta or the cargo, whoever we're using, they pack those pallets, and you just pray that your trunks can make it. I got to send 4 back this year for recon because the hinges just got busted, but we made it work.
Awesome. Thanks, Stick. Steph?
Yeah, very similar. Honestly, a trip is a trip, no matter how far you're going. Obviously, there's a little more planning involved when you're going a bit further, especially if you're going to a place you've never been. I was in a unique situation where we traveled from back and forth to China or into Russia every 2 weeks. So the trunks pretty much stayed the same. We were kind of always ready in that scenario, just because we were doing it so frequently. But it's always, talking to whoever you're playing is a huge one, especially if there's some things, you maybe are thinking of not bringing, if that other person is going to bring it. I find the biggest thing, it's just you and the team that you're going over there with. So, they're also limited on what they're bringing too. But yeah, it's like Stick said, you can kind of cheat a little because a trip is a trip. So if you're, you go on the road anyways, you're kind of sort of bringing the same stuff. It's just making sure you can bring, knowing what you can and can't bring. Same with China, you can't bring any aerosols, things like that. Those would have to go on a boat. But yeah, just sort of just being prepared, I guess, having some checklist and double, triple checking everything.
Just a quick follow-up to that, and just for those of us that haven't done a lot of international travel, where are you getting that information from? Is the league helping you gather kind of what can go and can't go? Or are you guys digging into resources through the airlines? How are you learning this as you go, Steph?
Well, for me, no, that was full trial and error when we the first time we flew private. A lot easier when you're flying private. When you're flying commercial, that was just spending countless hours on the phone trying to get someone to answer that question. When we flew commercial, wait is always commercial. You're trying to get ahead of it, saying I have a trunk, or maybe you're sending the trunks early. But a lot of times that, when you're flying commercial, like 70 pounds is the max, unless you're calling someone from cargo. So for me, that was full trial and error. I went early. I would go early to the airport, like a couple weeks early, to actually physically talk to someone in person. That obviously can't be the case for everyone, but just getting on the phone, Google is a great resource, and just trying to, anytime I hear of someone going overseas, I know Northeastern went overseas this past 2 years ago, I think 3 years ago, whatever it was. So their equipment guy reached out to me, and it's sort of just using this resource of people, because it's tough to find stuff if you're flying commercial. A little easier when you're flying private.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Steph. Stick, how about you? Is the league helping you out? Do you got people there at the organization helping you out? How are you getting that information?
So for us, like when it's announced, the schedule, like they'll leak it out. So we know the Dolphins are going to Spain, the Steelers are going to Dublin or whatever. If we go to Brazil this year or whatever, it's on the docket. So I'll call the last two guys who went last year. So it'd be Greg and Chris. Hey, what'd you do? How'd you do it? And then work with Rocket Cargo, and they'll say, okay, this is what you can and what you can't bring into this country. And then you go see the site. So we'll go either May or June. We'll go once and then go again for the second follow-up. Okay, this is the practice facility. This is the hotel. This is the stadium. This is the locker room layout. And then I'll build a database and I send it out to my staff and say, okay, guys, this is how many lockers we got. This is what we're walking into. And you do it. You just hope in a prayer. Just know we plan the game. Know we're gonna have practice. Those are the items that I'm focused on. Make sure uniforms and all this stuff gets through. The hotel trunks, the video stuff. It's a lot of moving parts that goes into that.
Awesome. Thanks, Stick. Let's move on to the next question. Steph, what are some of the biggest issues you've had when you've traveled internationally?
Yeah, again, I've been lucky to fly both commercial and private. Obviously, when you're flying commercial, weight is always an issue. Even when you think something can go there, they might tell you it can't, which also weight leads to a lot of bags. So that's always the biggest one. And then, when you're flying private, it's the distribution of the weight. So our trunks, will have front hold. Again, certain scenarios when we were leaving North America to go back over to China or to go into Russia, I was on the truck telling, where those trunks can go. But the other way, you're not allowed, I wasn't allowed on the ground coming from China back into North America. So that was a little bit, definitely some damage on the trunks, just because, we had small little steel trunks, but those things easily weigh over 400 pounds. So, someone would try and pick it up. The box is tiny, but it's heavy. So those are kind of, weight for us was always the biggest one, just getting ahead of it, knowing the weight, knowing the size, the dimensions. That's definitely huge, but that's one of the biggest ones for me that I can think of.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. What about you, Stick?
I'm with Steph on that. For us, it's like when you're planning this trip, you don't think about it when you're putting it on the truck. You don't think about it when you're putting on the plane to go play Minnesota, to go play in Miami, to go play in Buffalo. You don't think about the weights and the dimensions of the stuff. I know, hey, it's 40,000 pounds on my truck. I'm putting 8,000 pounds on the plane. I know how much I got to get to where I got to go. When you going international or you flying everything private or whatever, they want to know the dimensions of the trunk. And some of my trunks are 6'6", 350. I got 4 of those. Those are my coach's trunks. The biggest hamper we have is a 22 bushel trunk. They want to know the dimensions, the weight, like what's in it. And you got to know, okay, there's 40 pieces of cold gear in here. This is who made, WSI made it. It was made in the USA. This is the declared value of it for insurance purposes. Like, so you doing that for all, I think I had 60, I take 60 trunks. That's including video, training room, and every department has to declare all that stuff. Cameras are made in China. So you got to know the country code, what's in it, the declared value. So you're looking at this car name and it might be $3 million, $4 million at the end of it. So the car name is the biggest part of this whole deal. They don't care about nothing else. And that's the hardest part for us, because instead of us doing a regular road game prep where I got my game notes, I got to go through this car name line by line, each department. Okay, you're missing X, Y, and Z, and go back to the ops guy and say, hey, okay, this is what you're missing. Let's resubmit it, and then pray that they accept it.
Awesome. Thanks. Great notes. What is something you learned from a trip that you think all managers need to know? We'll go to you, Steph.
This one sort of echoes, honestly, kind of the last question. Just knowing the weights of your stuff and what's in there is huge, especially what's in there when they ask you, because they're going to ask. Prime example, when I was over in China, the Bruins, who did they play? I can't even remember who they played. Bruins in Calgary. They played their first NHL series in China. And the Bruins got stuck in Chinese customs for 3 days, couldn't practice, almost thought they were going to have to cancel. This is a professional hockey team, okay? Almost thought they were going to have to cancel the game. I knew someone in customs, so I gave them a call, but they couldn't get their gear. They couldn't get their gear out of Chinese customs because they were asking them questions that you just, like Stick said, you just don't think about, you have your stuff, but you just don't think about, like this shoulder pad is made in, whatever, this piece is made in the US, this piece is made. So I think that's sort of the biggest one. And then honestly, kind of tying in with a question later on, but swag goes a long way. When you need kind of people to help you out, and honestly, just being kind, when you're at the airport or whatever, you got people coming in, like helping you. There are lots of people on the ground who have volunteered their time to, just be a part of, you come into a place, and, that sort of stuff goes a long way. Like locals, like they're always willing to help. So I find that, that definitely goes a long way for sure.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. What about you,
And
Steph?
get Google Translate if you're going somewhere that doesn't speak
Yeah.
English.
That's a great one.
For me, it's finding out who the point person is. So I know if I'm working with Rocket, it could be D, it could be I forget the other guy's name, and just say, hey, who's your point person on the ground? Like, let me talk to him when we get to customs. So for me, customs in Germany 2 years ago, I was there for like an hour, 20 minutes. this past year, they had a new custom system that went down and had to go from London to like some other country and then back to London to make sure it passed or whatever. And like the little girl who put the paperwork in was like, it's good on our end, it's just waiting for it to come back. I sat in customs for 2 hours trying to figure out what was going on. And they're bringing our stuff, but you can't touch it. You can just say, hey, put this right here, put this right here. So you're trying to tell them to line up. Green is hotel, orange is practice, and pink is the stadium. We're like, just line it up by color for me. Just so I would think the biggest thing you would need to know is just have a bunch of patience and just understand, like, you're not in your normal setting. Like, you don't run this show. You just there. They're doing it until they say, okay, now you can go hands on and touch your stuff and move your stuff, and then you got load your trucks. That's so it's a lot to just be patient and understand, like, you're at the mercy of that customs agent checking your car name.
It's a lot like someone coming into your equipment room. So got to have some respect there. Stick, I got to ask you a question. Where did you get the idea for coloring things up before you hit the ground? Is that something you always do, or is that something you just focused on doing for international?
So we do it. I did it in college too, because it's easier for us to know, okay, this is stadium, this is field equipment, this is, because all those trunks are the same. Like, you may get your whatever put on the side of it, but it's all gonna say Patriots or whoever, the Bills, the Vikings. But you can look at a trunk and tell, okay, that goes inside, that goes outside. So it's easier for departments. Like, I don't know what the trainers got. So if you label it field, I know what's going to the field. If you label it training room, I know what's going in the training room. So when we pulling stuff off the truck, it's easier for us. Everybody knows the system. We can roll it to where it needs to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Stick.
I might
Next question.
on that one too, if you don't
Oh, yeah,
mind.
go ahead.
A big one too, like if you're traveling with bags and stuff, even this doesn't even need to be international, just in general, even just having different color bags, that's kind of, maybe if it's not in your color scheme, like for us, we would do, laundry, dirty laundry, always in a red, oh my God, what's it called? The red bin, red bag, whatever you want to be. That would always be our dirty stuff. So when you go, like, you're pulling that stuff out, the other team's doing your laundry, like that's the first thing that they can get it gone. And then we would have black for, our shoes, whatnot. If you had a separate, dry room, things like that. But we found just even different color bags is a huge help too. Cause then everyone knows, anyone who's helping you unpack, like, they know too. So that's just a little something.
Steph, we'll come right back to you with this. And I know hearing from you before, I know you travel pretty light, but what kind of staff are you bringing? Does that staff change when you get to go international? And, and obviously, share a little light on kind of the planning for that if you are reducing staff.
Yeah, I mean, compared to, some football operations, hockey is a light for sure. I mean, we have medical comes, strength comes, they're all unpacking with us too. But as far as international, because one, it was part of what we were doing, everyone's coming anyways. We'll leave the local, kid at home who's doing laundry. But as far as team staff goes, everyone's sort of coming. And that's just, even if I think, I was asked, we have to limit, I think I'd really try and push, those, you're there all the time there. It should be no different when you're going a little bit further. So I think it's important to give people the opportunities to see and do that kind of stuff, like going to a different location, different city, different place, country. That stuff's super important. So definitely want to advocate for, anyone who's around you to go with you too.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. What about Stick? What about you guys? Are you guys taking all staff, or are you slimming down to a international roster?
You need all your staff to go when you're going overseas, because you got the hotel set up, you got the practice site set up. It's just a lot of moving parts. So I try to take the 5 full-time, 2 interns, and my home clubhouse guy, because my home clubhouse guy, my backup home clubhouse guy is my truck driver. So he knows how we operate on the road. So he goes in, he sets up, and he talks to the other clubbies, hey, this is how we want this done. And that's something I ain't got to worry about. Like, I know he's going to get trunks in the right place, because he goes before we get there anyway. And so he can set the trunks up, and then we come in and do the bags and all that other stuff. But you want to have as much help as you can. Like, I don't care if you got to go talk to the AD, the GM. Listen, I need this many people. This is why I need them. This is what they're going to be doing. And because over there, somebody else is doing your laundry. So, hey, you tell them cold water or whatever. Don't dry my stuff on super high heat. It's just a lot of moving parts, because you got coaches laundry, you got players laundry, you got the owner's laundry if he's staying at the same hotel. It's just a lot of stuff, and you need most hands you can get.
Yeah, awesome. Great advice. Stick, we'll come back to you on this one. We just got done talking about non-traditional venues, and you shared a little bit about getting to travel and seeing things beforehand, but what are the additional notes about international venues that you can shed light on for everyone in attendance here today?
You're gonna play this game. Like, we played the last two locker rooms I've been in were soccer locker rooms. They're not made for football players, 300-pound guys. So it helps us out, or it helps me out tremendously if I can go and see the space beforehand, or I can call that clubhouse guy, hey, send me the locker room. Like, the Tottenham and Wembley are two different spots. Tottenham was way bigger than Wembley. Wembley's older, it's a more classic spot. And that locker room was not as big. Like, I had offense on one side, defense in the middle. No, coaches in the middle, defense. Like, I had to split the locker room up. I had the coaches right in the middle of everything, but there was no coach's locker room. And so you go explain that to the head coach. Hey, you got your own space, but the coaches are going to be right smack dab in the middle of the action. And it is what it is. Like, you're playing that game, you're there to play. So adjust to what you got. But do all the research, call people. If they've been there before you, just try to figure out, hey, what am I walking into? You got pictures. How was your setup? What'd you do? Would you put your trunks? And then talk to the trainer. Hey, there's going to be action walking in between this deal. Just understand that it's going to be foot traffic, and you try to make yourself seen so where the player don't got to walk all over to try to find you. So you set up in the corner, or you set up outside the locker room so they can come back out, grab what they need, and go back in.
What about field stuff, Stick? What are you, obviously you're playing on a soccer pitch, quite a bit different dimension. What are you noticing there, and how are you adjusting your setup?
So when you play on a soccer field, it's going to be soft. It's not as firm as a regular football field. So we always put 7 studs out. And I tell my guys, all of them, O-line, D-line, all my skill guys, hey, go out there and just get your footing. I want you to do 3-step, 5-step, all these 7-step drops. Find out. And I tell my power guys, hey, when you cut, I'll go out there with you. I want to see how your feet's going to react to this deal. And some guys say, hey, man, I want to wear my 7 studs. I want to wear my 7 studs. So we take them. Some guys don't wear them. Some guys are good and they're molded because they're light on their feet. But you got to have 7 studs when you play on a soccer field.
Awesome. Thanks, Stick. Steph, what about you with the venues that you're playing in and adjusting to the differences from country to country? What have you noticed, and what kind of light can you shed on for everybody else?
Yeah, definitely echo and Stick there. Like, there's, this community is great because you can reach out to anyone who has been somewhere, and use the community too, for sure. Like, there's a reason we're all on this call together. When people go overseas, they don't know either. So I find that's the biggest thing for sure. Venue wise, like Stick said, everything's different. The more information you can get, pictures, whatnot, that helps a lot, and it saves so much time. When you get to see what it looks like, what you're setting up at. If you're lucky like Stick and you get to go over a little bit earlier and scout it out, more power to you. But if you're going in blind, you just gotta be quick on your feet and just adapt. That's the biggest thing. I mean, that's part of our job too, is being able to adapt. And honestly, bring outlet converters so you can plug your regular shit stuff into. Sorry, I swore. Yeah, bring outlet converters for sure. Hockey wise, we're bringing a skate sharpener, we're bringing glove dryers, things like that. Those things don't go off the normal little square converters. You got to bring the industrial size ones, but they make them. They'll go 240 volt to 220 to 110. So I find that was super helpful. They're a little expensive, but for sure worth it if you can get all your machines up and running. You know, you can't just plug that into the wall and have it go. So definitely bringing those is huge.
Awesome. Thanks, Steph. What about gifts? I know we alluded to this earlier, but really, I thought this was one of my favorite questions looking through things. What kind of gifts are you bringing for not only maybe for the other team or whatever, but you know, we talk about customs or things like that. Would you care to share the swag or things that you're bringing over? We'll go Steph first.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm bringing everything from last year that, you know, isn't going to the team store or whatnot, or going out to players. Like, I'm bringing that over, and most of the time I'll leave it. Like, I will bring a whole trunk of stuff to give out, to pass out. If you got it, that stuff, like I said, that stuff goes a long way, even at the airport. You know, in Europe and stuff, they love pins, they love little pendants, things like that. But people like being a part of it, you know, and I think that's huge. When, you know, when we got to a rink in China, I would give out hats to everyone, and then the next day, couple minutes later, everyone's wearing that hat, you know. So that stuff, you know, you might not realize being surrounded by it all the time, but that stuff goes a long way. You know, there's no doubt. And honestly, leave it. People will take it. People will take it, and they'll give it out to friends and family, and then, you know, you don't have to deal with it anymore. Your old stuff from last year, or whatever it may be.
Awesome. Stick.
A bunch of helmets. Probably take 6 to 8 trophy helmets. You get a few, like, so it'd be like Patriots 25 jerseys made up, a bunch of hats. So the bus drivers, the truck drivers, who's ever touching the R stuff, they wear a hat. T-shirts, sweatshirts. No, this depends on the climate you're gonna play in, like that. All that stuff matters. Beanies. That's how I got through customs in Germany. She was like, "Hey, can I open this trunk?" I was like, "That's the perfect trunk for you. Open it up, take whatever you want." You know. So that stuff works. Just a little, because it's something minor, but you got the hotel staff wearing your team colors, your brand, like, you know, so you know who those people are. And like when you go on these international trips, it might be 80 security people just in that one little spot. Like, it's 2 people on every floor, and you get to know them by name. Hey, I heard you the equipment guy. And I usually keep a bag in my room to where I can go and pull stuff out for, like, if the owner needs something and all the stuff's at the stadium, I can pull out what he needs, or if you need hats or what. I got something in my room that I just send back on the truck or the plane, or just leave it. Like Steph said, I just leave it at the stadium. Like, I don't need it back. But it's just having those little odd and end things that make somebody else's day that we might think is minute because we see it every day. But those things are like currency. Like, I rather get a hat and a t-shirt than you give me $100.
Awesome. That's about it. Anybody have any additional questions? Feel free to hit me through the messenger. I do want to give, I think I saw Melly on here. I want to give her some time for an update before we switch over to the QR code to scan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year. Stick and Steph, thank you so much for contributing your time and your wisdom. We all appreciate it. We have 172 people on here. That's a lot of equipment managers. So I appreciate all of you also staying in tune with what's going on and learning from each other, building community. That's good stuff. I just want to mention a couple of things that are happening in the AEMA, just give you some bright spots in this lovely snowy cold weather that we're having here in Chicago, and I think it's cold everywhere. I think Houston's gotten more snow this year than Chicago, so interesting times. The upcoming window for CEU for certification is the last opportunity. If you are not certified, this is going to be the last opportunity for you to take the exam without educational exceptions. So moving forward after this convention, no more, there's no more pleas on it. There's no more exceptions, period. It is the last time. And I highly recommend, not just for pride's sake, to be certified, not just to be a professional, to be certified, because we're, as an organization, working towards making it mandatory. So hop on it now, okay? So that was one thing I wanted to remind you of. This is something that as an organization, we're definitely moving towards is mandatory certification. NFL's all in, and usually it trickles down. So just be aware, you're not going to be safe and you want to be ahead of the game. Okay. February 1, the AEMA website will be open up for registration for convention and membership renewals. So don't forget to get on that. Vegas is a well-attended convention. The rooms are, they have 90% occupation. So make sure you register right away, get your room right away if you're fairly certain you're going. And I think we've done a really good job these last conventions. We've had interesting events. We had food trucks one year in Oklahoma City. Last year, we did the College Football Hall of Fame, which was tremendous. We had food. I know Scoot at Bowling Green has got some stuff cooking with hockey. So we got a tour cooking there in Vegas. So there's going to be lots of things to do, lots of activities, great workshops. So I hope to see all of you there. Lastly, I just want to give you a quick update on the executive director search. The committee is working very hard. The company that we hired to kind of help organize all the resumes has been terrific. We've gotten about 115 applicants. I would say, just to give you just a little peek, because I'm all about transparency, but a little peek into it is to tell you that we are looking at a broad spectrum of people. They may or may not have equipment management. They may only have equipment management. We are looking at a broad spectrum of candidates because we need someone that's got experience, not only just in athletics, but in growing an organization, leading an organization, budgetary concerns. So this is a big step for us. And your board has been working really hard to get this done. And the working group, I would like to thank all of you for being on that. Other than that, I'm free to open up to questions. We're only at what 12:37. I know you guys want to sit in front of your Zooms longer. So if any of you have questions about any of those things, if you're not comfortable muting, feel free to email me. But I'm really confident with the applicants that we got and the direction that the AEMA is going to. The direction is really right for us, and I'm very convinced about that. So I'm super happy about the direction. I'm super happy about this engagement that I'm seeing right in front of my eyes right now. Other than that, that's all I got. Thank you, everybody. Go Cats.
Thanks, Melly. Appreciate it. I'm gonna jump over. Feel free to get your phones out, get your scans in. Appreciate Stick and Steph being part of today's call, and awesome attendance day. We'll see everyone in about a month.
Is anyone else getting the error message that they can't check in till tomorrow for this?
Yeah, I think we're being told that we were so efficient today that we can't log in yet to get CEU credit.
Sorry, guys. I'll make sure we get the roster and get it sent out. I will get with the CEU folks and we'll get a resolution. I'll probably have to email everyone out that was on the call. So just make sure you got your first name, last name here, what institution, and we'll track you down and make sure everyone gets credit for it. Sorry, guys.
Awesome.
Larry Bird.
What up, Stick? How are you, brother?
I'm living, big dog.
Awesome.